There's no question that the past 2 years have been hard on our country's young people, and this latest mass shooting only adds to it. A few weeks ago, we had some community leaders who work with Southern Nevada's youth on Nevada Week to discuss the pandemic's impact on issues like education and school violence. But we wanted to hear directly from the source, and so we have invited on some participants of the community programs we featured. And here with us now are Brittany Corzo, a soon-to-be graduate of Desert Pines High School and of Jobs for Nevada's graduates, as well as Jessica Suarez, who benefited from the program Communities in Schools while attending Chaparral High School. She now works for CIS as a site coordinator at Canyon Springs High School. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. And before we talk about your personal experiences with these organizations, I want to continue with the school shooting issue. And I wonder, Brittany, a senior in high school, how often have you found yourself thinking about a mass shooting possibly happening at your school?
It's not always a constant thing in my head, because since I am really much in focus about my education and making sure that I do pass my classes, but every time I do hear one of these news and any article that has anything to do with a mass shooting in a school, then I start kind of having that anxiety in my head if anything is going to happen or if someone were to come in right now. And I always think about how the security precautions in my school, since it's so easy to go to McDonald's, since I have a McDonald's right by my school, and then just come back. And I think that's the number one thing in my head, how it's so easy to just go into school.
So you mean you're talking about you can leave, go to McDonald's, come back so easy,
Yeah.
and there's no issue with you entering or leaving?
Yeah.
That is a bit scary. What do you think, Jessica, when you are going now to your place of work, how often are you thinking this might be the next side of a mass shooting?
You know, we do the drills at least once a quarter, and it's kind of nerve-wracking to think that now I'm the adult in charge in my office, and so whoever I have in my room at the time, I'm responsible to make sure that I do what I'm supposed to do to make sure that they're safe. And so, you know, just as Brittany said, I don't think about it every day, but you know, every so often you think like, okay, like if this were to happen right now, how do I get my kids out? How do I hide them or keep everybody safe in the room? So it's a big responsibility. It's a little nerve-wracking to think about, for sure.
You graduated from high school about 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. Did you have to do active shooter drills when you were at Chaparral High School?
Yes. I feel like I remember doing them for quite a while. It's just maybe more real now because I feel like it's on the news at least weekly. It's becoming harsh reality.
I had never had to do that in school, an active shooter drill, but you are doing them. What is it like to take part in one?
It's really, they tell you that it's not like a drill where you do get the announcement, hey, it's a drill. It's kind of like off guard. So you don't know whether it's a drill or not. So everyone takes it really seriously. And I remember one time they had it at our school, and it was right after an incident that happened, a school shooting, and everyone was, I mean, they were all panicking. We were all kind of like, what are we gonna do? The teacher was, I mean, scared, and we were all kind of, we didn't know what to do, but we locked the doors. We did take our precautions that we were supposed to do, and in the end, when they said that it was a drill, I mean, it was kind of like a breather, like we all were like, wow.
I guess I didn't realize that they do not let you know whether it's real. How scary that could be. What do you think can be done in addition to security measures like you were talking about to prevent these situations?
That is a great question. I believe that we can kind of set up ground rules where it's like, okay, you can't leave the campus because of this, this, and that. And then make sure there's people. I know there's cops around the school because I do have police cars in the school, but I mean, I go in the school when they don't see me. So, you know, what makes you think that someone else can do the same thing? So I feel like more security measures. I feel like prior to the shooting, with the thing that happened here in Vegas, where they had metal detectors, but the guy still carried a gun into the casino and still did what he did. I feel like they should have metal detectors at schools. because there's people with weapons on campus. There's been a lot of those drills where there's weapons on campus, and I feel like they should take like more precaution with that, since they bring on these weapons in school, and I feel like that's not okay. I feel like that's not,
it's
even
not
if you
being addressed.
Exactly, and I feel like self-defense, because they do bring it back to self-defense, but it's a school. You're not supposed to be scared.
On edge and scared. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that one, we need to make sure everybody on campus is prepared and knows exactly what needs to be done if, God forbid, something were to happen, especially the adults. And I think that communication over that needs to be thorough. But also taking those extra measures to make sure the kids feel safe, that the teachers feel safe, because all of the time you hear about things that are happening at other schools and you're just thinking, oh my gosh, what if that happened on my campus? What would I have done? So I think that just taking extra precautions, because there's only so much we can do about what other people are going to decide to do every day.
Exactly. So. Jessica, tell me how you got involved with communities and schools.
Yeah, so my junior year in high school, I actually dropped out of high school and moved to Las Vegas. And so I was brand new.
Where were you from?
I lived in New Mexico.
Okay.
And so I had moved around a whole lot. I've been all over the place. But when I made it to Vegas, it was hard to find a place to live. I was living with a family friend, and I didn't have the support that I needed to be able to go back to school. But I walked into a high school anyways. I chose Chaparral because it was closest. And after telling them my situation, that I was living in a weekly and I didn't have a couch or clothes to wear to school, they immediately walked me over to Communities and Schools office. And the moment they heard that I needed something, they were on it. I mean, there's 3 women in the room and they're running around like, okay, you need this, you need this, you need this, gave me a backpack full of clothes, and they gave me my wardrobe for my senior year. I had nothing. They gave me a couch, they gave me groceries, and then that meant that I had less to worry about, so I could focus on getting back to my studies, because now I had my junior year and my senior year to do in 1 year if I wanted to graduate with my class. And if it wasn't for their support, it would have been a lot harder to get done. But I had to pass all the classes, I had to take 4 proficiencies, an ACT, an SAT, and try to still get into college. And luckily I did all of those things. I passed everything and I still got to walk with my class. And then UNLV accepted me that fall, and it was a great big relief. And so I was just so inspired by how dedicated they were. They made me feel like family and never felt judged in any way. And so when I graduated college, I said, I know exactly where I'm going to apply to work first. And it's been 3 years since.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Brittany, what about you? How did you come into contact with Jobs for Nevada Graduates?
Well, actually, it was an elective. The class was called Employment Skills, and that caught my attention because I think that should be a class that should be required in every school, because that's what real life is all about. You do need to have these skills. So I went into that class, and they told me that it was Jobs for Nevada's graduates, and I'm like, oh wow, like this program seems really nice. Everyone was kind of like a family to me. And there were so many opportunities that Miss Jackson would give me, like every week she would put a poster on the board and I would look at it, and it was kind of like, it was
what
really
kind of opportunities?
I mean, what job opportunities? So they taught me how to make a resume. I attended a professional meeting. I attended a public speech competition. I was also part of the International Youth Foundation of McDonald's. So all these things were kind of like because of this foundation or this program.
How prepared would you have been to do those things you just talked about if you had not come in contact with Jobs for Nevada Graduates?
I don't think I would have any type of experience or any type of preparation, because they taught me how to do all of that. They taught me social skills. They taught me how to talk to people formally, how to dress. So all these things come from that program, and I'm really glad and I'm really thankful to be part of that program.
As I mentioned, we had on the community leaders from the organizations that you represent, and we have a soundbite from Rene Cantu with Jobs for Nevada Graduates. Here's what he had to say about what he's seeing from our youth right now as a result of the pandemic.
We are seeing an increased sense of isolation from young people, a great sense of disengagement. So Jobs for Nevada Graduates works in the high schools. And what we're seeing is exactly that, where young people are just, you're seeing high absenteeism, you're seeing low grades, you're seeing credit deficiency. Our staff are trained in trauma-informed care and other things so that we can assist them through that. But kids are in trouble right now, and there's still a great aftermath after COVID.
How would you each respond to that, and what do you believe are the biggest issues youth are facing right now? I'll start with you, Jessica.
So I definitely agree. I feel like the pandemic has had an effect on all of us. It's something that I don't think anybody was prepared for. And unfortunately, I think our youth struggled probably the most because the issues that their parents are dealing with at home because of the pandemic is trickling down. But on top of that, now they've lost the social aspect and they're not meeting certain milestones that is just typical. They're not hanging out with their friends. They're not going to the mall. They're not even going to school. And so I feel like coming back to the campuses, I've noticed maybe some more antisocial tendencies. Students really don't know how to communicate with each other, with adults either. And I think that it kind of, tensions are a little high and no one really knows how to react with each other now. It's just, we're all used to being on our couch every day and not going outside. And so it's an effect.
On your couch and perhaps on your phone, on social media. Another issue that your generation has faced that perhaps your parents and grandparents didn't. Brittany, what do you believe to be the biggest issue our youth are facing right now?
To add on to what Jessica said, because she did kind of laid it down really perfectly, I think that it has a lot to do with the pandemic and how it affected the youth. I think that they result to multiple other things like drugs, like they go to alcohol, violence, and it is such a big thing. I remember all of a sudden at my school, Desert Pines, they were making an announcement about violence. And I'm like, oh, like why all of a sudden they started to do this? So I kind of thought, like, why would they go to that in the first place? Why would they resort to drugs? Why would they resort to alcohol? Why would they resort to violence? And I think about the mental health aspect of that, since, you have this antisocialness, you have this kind of seclusion, you're kind of secluded, you don't know where to go. And I feel like the pandemic did have a big impact on that. So I feel like mental health is definitely a big thing in the youth.
And you found that within your own friendships, I remember you told me.
Yes, I did. I had a friend that was going through a really, really rough time, and he told me things that, like, I would never have thought that he would ever say to me. And, my first thought was like, I need to let someone know. I can't just sit here and let him do whatever he's gonna do and just like a bystander, and I'm not that person. So the first thing I did was see where I can contact his mother, his father. So I didn't have that information, so I went to my counselor, and I'm like, you know what, I have a friend that's not doing okay. I think he needs someone to talk to, and none of the advice that I've given him has helped. So I feel like you should definitely talk to him, get him some help, and they did get him some help.
Wonderful. Jessica, with teacher shortages and staff shortages in general, are there enough counselors at schools to sufficiently address the mental health issues youth are facing?
I feel like if we could have as many counselors as there are kids on campus, there probably still wouldn't be enough. I mean, they work very hard, they do their very best, but there's a lot going on the campus, and there's about 3,000 kids there every day, and we do everything that we can, and mental health has been #1 on our priority list for sure, and we're doing like panorama surveys. The kids get to tell us, okay, are you doing well? Do you need something? And even though that may not hit every student that needs something, we do our very best to reach every kid.
Ladies, thank you so much for being so candid and for joining us on this topic.